Good morning, afternoon, whatever time you happen to be joining in. I'm Tim Derling. This is Tim's Vinyl Confessions, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend,
Lebrain.
Mr. Mike Ladano, the Lebrain train, with a cool fly-by-night shirt on. What's on your toque, eh?
Actually, I'm glad you asked me because I was gonna plug these guys for a minute here. This is a band from Raleigh, North Carolina called the Cosmic Superheroes, and they just sent me their new CD, Hell Yes, Ma'am. And they cover, remember Cry of Love?
Yes.
They cover Peace Pipe. And it's produced by John Custer, who produced Cry of Love and Corrosion.
Yeah. So, Bad Thing. Yeah, they were good. Good heavy Southern rock.
I just wanted to give them a plug because they sent me this hat and a t-shirt and a bunch of stickers.
So, because everyone knows sequels are always better than the originals, Mike and I are seeing if lightning will strike twice for us again. We had a fantastic response to our first episode that we did on our rare CDs, which is episode number 351, if anybody hasn't watched that one. So, we thought we'd try it again. Now, I don't have nearly as many out to talk about as I did before, but got some cool things to talk about. I don't know in some cases how rare they actually are. I know that I wouldn't want to go looking for any of these again.
Yeah.
So, I've got them broken up into different categories, like maybe three or four at a time. So let's get started on this rare CD part 2 episode, and I will let Mike kick us off with his first selections.
Okay, so first, 2 caveats, which are, number one, I basically picked all Japanese imports this time because for 99% of your audience, those are rare. And I find that a lot of Japanese imports, they're only in print for a few years. And then you can't get them anymore. You're on the secondhand market. And then you have to pay what I love to call the late tax. And, so some of these CDs that I'm going to show, maybe not quite so rare at the time of release, but now much more so. And also the other thing is my order is completely random. If you recall back in August, September, we were going to tape this show. I grabbed a stack of CDs and put it aside, and I've completely forgotten what's in that stack. So it's actually kind of going to be a surprise for me too. I'm going to grab maybe 4 at a time. I'll do 5 at a time, let's say.
Yeah.
And if you want me to pause and go into more detail, you just let me know. But
right on. Yeah.
5. Okay. It's a good one to start with because this one really was rare when it first came out. Motley Crue Generation Swine, Japanese import from 1997. Rare obi strip, still intact, comes inside this little kind of smoked plastic. I don't know that maybe it was completely transparent when it was new, but I'm going to say it's smoked brown plastic. Bonus track on this is Song to Slit Your Wrist by Nikki Sixx's side project 58. Remember 58?
Yeah.
I assumed wrong that this was a Motley Crue version, and I was extremely disappointed to find out it was the 58 track because I was not a 58 fan.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a recent acquisition, my most recent. Def Leppard Viva Hysteria with the bonus track Acoustic Medley Live. Remember Bonham, their second album, Mad Hatter?
Yes.
Bonus track on this is a song called Waste No Time. And I don't have the obi strip, but there's the spine.
You know what? My obi strips went the same way as my long boxes. I don't know where they are. I used to have quite a few of them.
Well, you'll see how I file them, and then you, the viewer, you can use this as a tip for filing your obi strips and never losing them.
Life hack.
After we did a ZZ Top Lebrain Train episode, I was convinced to buy the Japanese import of Rhythmine, featuring the bonus track "Isn't Love Amazing?" And there's no Japanese text on it.
That's a good album. How amazing is the bonus track? I've never heard it.
Isn't Love Amazing?
No, but how is it?
I don't remember. These are mostly recent acquisitions in the top of this pile. And here's one that I paid the late tax on that I kind of wish I'd bought way back in good old 95.
Yeah.
The Japanese Fat Box 2 CD import of Iron Maiden's The X Factor, featuring a complete bonus CD with the 3 studio non-cover B-sides, which were Justice of the Peace, I Live My Way, and Judgment Day. I Live My Way is otherwise only available on a vinyl 12-inch single. Yeah, so there's my first 5. This one's actually maybe just spend a second more on it because it comes with extra booklets.
The only Maiden album that Hugh Syme did the artwork for.
Correctamundo.
And he says that when his daughters were little, that the mock-up of Eddie actually scared them.
It was pretty frightening, actually. It was not to my taste. Like, I don't know, not to my taste personally, but hey, it's Maiden and it's Hugh Syme, so it's kind of like best of both worlds in a way. Yeah, so there's my first 5.
Cool. So I've just got these ones are UK, European. First one, I don't have much for singles, but I remember that my good friend John had this on cassette and just thought it was cool. We listened to it a lot. And so I looked for the CD single online. It's Metallica Creeping Death / Jump in the Fire.
Got
this
that.
is a UK version on phonogram, Vertigo phonogram. And on the side, I like on the side, it doesn't say Metallica, just has the names of the songs, almost like it's a series, which it probably was. And what's cool, so this is the cover of the Creeping Death single, and this is the Jump in the Fire single. I remember when I first heard of Metallica was my cousin Chris. We used to visit my aunt and uncle a lot when I was little, and he'd always like go to a buddy's place, so I'd end up with it in his room. And he was like a huge metalhead. First time I ever heard Metallica, he had a huge poster of this on his wall,
which is freaky. That's a freaky image.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you don't think of those first 3 Metallica albums as having singles per se. And I couldn't have told you what the single from Kill 'Em All would have been, but I guess it was Jump in the Fire with live versions of Seek and Destroy,
live,
Lord,
in quotation marks.
Well, let's put it this way: different recordings.
Yes.
The next 2, I'm gonna, file under a subcategory of, I wasn't looking to buy an import. I just found it used.
Cool.
Back in '93, when I was filling in CDs of albums I had on cassette, I stumbled upon Rush: A Show of Hands in Fredericton, and this just happens to be a European version, again on Vertigo phonogram, which I love the design on some of these early these Vertigo discs. I wasn't looking for, a different version of. There's nothing different on it. Would have been nice if it had lock and key, which was only on the Laserdisc version of the Show of Hands concert video. But
wait, it wasn't on the VHS?
No, only on the Laserdisc. And now they put the Rush, I think it's called the R40, the Blu-ray. It's restored there, but you got to buy a lot of other stuff to get it. A couple of years ago, I found this one. I was totally not expecting it because number one, I don't see CDs used by this band. I don't see CDs by this band much anyway. Number 2, like a European version of Thin Lizzy Fighting.
Oh yeah.
Just I don't think there's anything rare about this as far as this is the version that a lot of people have, but I just the fact that I stumbled upon it used, and again, it's got that same this design on the CD. And
Tim, sometimes I wonder the story behind the individual disc. Like, how did it get from Europe to here? Was it sold as an expensive European import? Did someone buy it in Europe and bring it home? I sometimes wonder, how did it get here?
Yeah, exactly. The stories that these things could tell us, because they've done a lot of traveling.
Yeah, and if that was bought as a UK import or whatnot, that could have been $30.
It could have been 30. I think I paid $5 for it.
There you go.
Next up is a very rare one because it's never been reissued, and it was a while before it was issued.
Yes, that is very rare.
Yep. This and Live Magnetic Air did not get issued when Anthem put out all of the Max Webster catalog on CD. You can tell because it doesn't have in huge letters featuring Kim Mitchell, which is a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
But a company called Magada, Magada, put out this and Live Magnetic Air in a very, very brief window, I think around 94, and it very quickly went out of print. I just happened to find this copy used. And this has another thing that drives me absolutely bananas. Check it out. It's upside down.
Upside down, yeah.
But it's kind of cool. It's personalized. And the other thing about this, if Max Webster fans will know this, the song the Hot Spots and Overnight Sensation, they were originally recorded for the first album. So they've got Paul Kersey on drums. Were never released, and they were that was the bait to get Diamonds when it originally came out in 81.
Yeah.
And this is still the only place you can get those songs on CD, because even when
True.
Max Webster did that very elaborate reissue
The Party.
the Party, it easily thrown this on that bootleg disc or that extra disc that's on the end, but they didn't. So yeah, these songs only live here. Now, are they the greatest songs? No, but
They're okay.
They're okay. And Max Webster has such a finite amount of material that you kind of want all of it, right?
I will tell you as an added note, that's one that I don't own on CD. I only have on vinyl. So
it's hard to find.
That's the one so far, Tim, that I'm coming to your house and stealing.
It's really, really hard to find. I was fortunate to find it. It's also, just a little sidebar, it's one of those ones that I'm pretty sure there's an 8-track version for it. It would make sense that there was, but I've never ever seen it. Never seen it. Aaron, you out there, man? And I still need Universal Juveniles too. Thank you. Put in my order. So that's that first batch, Mike.
Nice. Okay, I'll grab another 5. Again, looks like some recent acquisitions. This one's kind of funny. I knew that I needed the bonus tracks on it, but my original Live Bites by Scorpions domestic CD kind of bit the dust. So I just decided, what the heck, I'll just buy a new one.
It's a sign when that happens.
I'm not 100% sure what the bonus tracks are here because they're not in at the end.
Oh,
so I'll just quickly run through them. Tease Me, Please Me, Is There Anybody There? Rhythm of Love, In Trance, No Pain, No Gain, When the Smoke is Coming Down, Ave Maria, No Moro, Living for Tomorrow, Concerto in 5 or V, Alien Nation, Hit Between the Eyes, Crazy World, Wind of Change, Heroes Don't Cry, and White Dove. So there you go. There's definitely bonus tracks. I got that story wrong. Sorry. It's this one that bit the dust. That's my, it was my Humanity Hour 1. This one, the bonus tracks are Cold and Love Will Keep Us Alive radio edit. On radio edits being bonus tracks, by the way. Incidentally, the Canadian version of this has tracks that are not on the Japanese.
That's interesting.
Oh, here's one you'll like. You like this band. So does our good friend Chris P.
Yeah.
Bonus tracks on this, which are now available in box set form, were Kiss the Day and an amazing acoustic version of Long, Long Way to Go.
And it's got the reverse cover, like it's,
yeah, that's right. Actually, yes, it's black and the
black and white instead of white and black.
Right. Oh, here's a great band that I hope you've heard of from Newfoundland, Canada.
I've heard of them. Yeah, aren't they like an early Sabbath type of band? Like
the lead singer of this band auditioned for Sabbath at one point because inside the previous album, he says, "Thank you, Tony Iommi and Bob Marlette, for the amazing audition."
Wow, he sounds a lot like Ozzy then.
Sounds exactly like Ozzy.
Like
this album,
Ozzy.
The first, well, I shouldn't say the first because I know they had stuff before it, but the previous album was really Sabbathy. This one, a little bit less so, tiny bit less so. Bonus tracks are 9 December and El Camino Real. 9 December being an absolute smoker, just a smoker of a song. Oh, here's one I'm kind of embarrassed about. It's a Japanese EP, 6 tracks altogether. But the bonus tracks here are, let's see, 2 from Live in 97. Then there's a remix by Moby of Falling in Love is Hard on the Knees, live version of Pink, and a remix of Pink. Oof.
I that song doesn't give me fits like a lot of their latter day stuff. I kind of like 9 Lives because it didn't really have anything on it that got played to death.
I like 9 Lives, but I don't like Pink. I'm sorry.
I've always been amused by it.
Mark Tornillo era, and I almost said Anthrax, except with bonus track Thrown to the Wolves. That's that stack.
Cool. I've just got a couple in this, and it doesn't fall into any category. This first one, I'm lazy by nature. I didn't go back to our first episode.
Okay.
So I may have shown this before, but I think it's worth showing again.
I have that. That's from Australia.
Cooper, Freedom for Frankenstein. Now, this is an Australian release, which apparently they don't care what label songs were originally on. They can mix and match, right? Because this has songs from Constrictor, Raise Your Fist and Yell, Trash, Hey Stupid, Last Temptation, and it's got some goodies on here. It's got some live tracks. It's got B-sides. Live, Ballad, Dwight Fry Live. But the main reason I bought this is because of the song It Rained All Night.
Yes.
Great song, which it was the B-side of the Hey Stupid single. Now that
Yes,
I'm
it
saying
was.
this sounds very familiar to me. I've definitely talked about this before, and it's on the reissue of Hey Stupid. So I bought this instead of the reissue of Hey Stupid. And now my understanding is this is shot way up in price. There's actually a decent write-up inside of here. It's on a
Yes, it
company
is.
called
Yep.
Raven, and it's just a cool little for the 86-91 period, actually 86-94 period, because it's got Sideshow on here too. So yeah, if you're into that period of Alice Cooper and you've never heard that song, this is something worth seeking out.
I bought that in the late 90s, I believe, from a website called CD Now.
I remember that.
Yeah. And I bought it for the Dwight Fry live version because that was only on the cassette single for could have been Bed of Nails, maybe.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
it was one of the trash cassette singles, and I
It's
wanted
probably from the Alice Cooper Trashes the World video.
very likely.
Yeah.
And I wanted a digital copy rather than a cassette that's going to eventually.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this one, I don't know how rare it is. It's kind of weird. This is Loverboy, and it's called Cream. And this was on sale in their merch booth when I saw them in 2016 in Moncton. And this has 3 new songs on it.
Okay.
Some Like It Hot, Hurtin', and Stop the Rain. And then it's got 9 other earlier Loverboy songs that are re-recorded. Now, these are not the same re-recordings that they did on an album called Rock and Roll Revival, which they put out on Frontiers in 2012, which also had 3 new songs on it, 3 different new songs, and a bunch of re-records. And I think I can understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to recreate the 80s production, but it just sounds like they're using a really bad drum machine on some of the songs, and it's I don't know. It's interesting anyway. One of the songs that they re-recorded I thought was kind of odd was the song Strike Zone from Keep It Up, which was not a single. But anyway, I don't know if it's rare, but I will say this, and you can take this as a cautionary tale. I had only been on Instagram for maybe 2 or 3 months at this point when I went to see them in concert, and I posted this CD. Don't hashtag the word cream, okay? Just don't.
Thank you.
Back to you, Mike.
Okay, so grab another handful here. Oh, this is a good one because it's a personal friend of mine, Mr. Steph Hond. He's played with Paul Di'Anno, and he currently has a band called Scream Taker with Vinny Appice and Jim Crean. Hollywood Monsters is sort of a super group. You can see Appice there in the back.
Yeah.
And there's my good buddy Steph Hond from France. Bonus track on the Japanese version is it's a good one too. It's an original called I'm the Best You Can Get. But otherwise, most of the stuff is covers, like Cold Sweat by Thin Lizzy.
Good
I Don't
song.
Need No Doctor. Yeah. I quite like Steph Hond, and I quite like that band.
Cool.
I bought this on the recommendation of our mutual friend, Mr. John T. Snow. Just Scott Soto, Wide Awake in Dreamland, has a bonus live CD. And I believe, bonus live acoustic track as well called Without You. And Mr. Snow was disappointed to find that I didn't like this. Motley Crue, the Saints of Los Angeles. And they have 2 bonus tracks here, Saints of Los Angeles Live and Kickstart My Heart Live. I think this is a pretty good studio album.
It is. Yeah. I've just got my CD of that is just the plain white version, like with just the title of the band on it.
I'm going to skip past. I'm going to save those for last.
Cool.
Dokken. This is the 2016 reunion concert, which was really good, by the way. Comes in an extra fat, and we'll just compare it to a regular.
You thought it was really good?
I did. I mean, I know Dokken's voice has changed, but
changed. He sang everything a full octave lower. I bought it too. I just bought whatever the version that Amazon had, but I was listening. I found it a hard listen.
I'm going to tell you right now, I liked it. I gave it a positive review. This comes with
great
the DVD.
Track. I mean, the band sounds good. It's a great track listing.
Yeah. I was surprised that Don doesn't want to play Kiss of Death anymore, and they had to kind of twist his arm into it. Bonus track here is Paris is Burning.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, so here's a really serious rare one, and I'm sure these are worth some coin now. Do you remember when Kiss did the Kiss 40 album?
Yes.
They did a single called Samurai Sun.
They did that with that Japanese. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? When that first came out, I was thinking, should I get these? And guess what? I didn't.
Yeah. And now they're super duper rare.
Yeah.
I won't even bother trying to tell you all the different bonus tracks, but it's different remixes of Samurai Sun. Some of which have more emphasis on the girl, some of which have more emphasis on Kiss, none of which are the same one that's on Kiss 40. So that's kind of cool.
See, here's the thing. My version of Kiss 40 doesn't have anything, doesn't have any of that on it.
Oh, that's right, because they did two. I've got two versions of Kiss 40,
Yeah.
both versions of which are Japanese, but I don't think they're in any of these piles.
No, I just got a domestic one. Pretty good compilation, but
it
would have been nice if they'd have thrown that on.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got for that stack.
So, okay, so you're gonna like this next one.
Okay.
I bought this when it came out and had no intention of opening it. Then I bought a used version of the standard version, so that's the one that I would listen to when I did listen to it. Slang with bonus acoustic.
Is that sealed?
Yes, it's sealed.
With the sticker.
This is a Canadian version. No, I'm not opening this. I've heard the acoustic CD and it's really, really good.
And it's in the box set.
Songs on it. Yeah. But yeah, this is a sealed Canadian copy of this. Same story as this. Bon Jovi Keep the Faith with the bonus. It's actually got a live disc on it, which has and the studio album has the bonus song "Saved a Prayer," not a cover.
Yeah,
this is actually
awesome song, by the way.
Yeah, not bad. This is numbered.
Yep,
see that or not. And this actually has $25.99 written on it from my old Sam the Record Man in Woodstock. They used to write with the little marker. They'd write it on the plastic. So wow. I've had this for quite a while.
I got that for Christmas '93.
And talk about Rush once again, because, well, fight me. I want to. Matt found this for me and sent it to me. I don't think there's anything rare about it. I just think it's cool. It's a sampler from the Different Stages live album. It's a 9-song sampler. This is just a Canadian Anthem Records version. But I like it. I like Different Stages. I like the fact that they put out that concert from '78, which if you buy the 40th of Farewell to Kings, you get the full concert. But yeah, this is just a 9-song version of it. Yeah, that's that pile.
I will say for the viewers out there, one of my holy grails is a Japanese edition of Different Stages, which I believe Force 10 might have been the bonus track. And I only have a crappy download of it.
Mm-hmm.
And what?
I believe that version that you're referring to also came with miniature reprints of the tour books from the Moving Pictures. No, sorry, I'm mixed up. What am I talking about?
You might be thinking.
No, I think I'm right. I think I'm right. I think it comes with reprints of tour books from. Why would it have? It doesn't have Moving Pictures.
For some reason, I think you're thinking of that Grace Under Pressure live set, but I may be, or the
the replay ×3
replay time. That's the one.
As miniature tour books.
Yeah,
but this is from before. And my mind has been scarred from too much school. So I can't think of it. But there's something. There was something had miniature tour books. It was a Japanese only thing. So
one way or the other. If any of the viewers out there have a copy that they're willing to part with, please contact him. He'll get in touch with me. I will buy it.
Yeah. Send it to me. I'll be like, hey, Mike, they sent it to me.
Oh, you
what a guy. All right. Back to you.
Okay, I'll grab another stack here. I'm not really paying attention to how many in each stack. Oh, here's a good one. Although I believe all the tracks are now available on a reissue. The original Halford Live Insurrection, which had 2 bonus tracks. I think they're Blackout with Rudolf Schenker. And I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, oh wait, no, there it is. Never mind. I have no idea what the bonus tracks.
It's all
anyway,
good.
they're all available domestically now.
Yeah.
This is a great bonus track, song called Scatter.
Oh, wow. Because that's a great album.
The Infestation album, the bonus track Scatter. Honestly, it's my favorite track on the album. And that's the case with a few of these,
And the other case with a few of these things, most things, and we've talked about this before, most things get reissued. Every once in a while, you'll catch something that doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of which, here's one that hasn't been yet. The
Oh,
Def
the
Leppard
self-titled.
2015 bonus track here is it's a different version of Last Dance.
Okay.
This is one of the things where you had to buy two versions of the CD to get all the tracks. You had to buy the big magazine edition
I
that
bought
came with a
that.
couple demos.
It had a version of We Belong that just had Joe singing it,
Yeah, that was
as
great.
opposed to all the band members taking a verse.
I don't think this one has any bonus tracks. It just happened to be the one that Amazon had for sale.
Okay.
It's the Passion and Warfare.
Oh yeah, I have that. I have the domestic version of that, the Modern Primitive /
Yeah,
Passion and Warfare.
don't think there's any bonuses, but that just happened to be the one that
Now,
was
the
offered.
version I had like 4 bonus tracks on Passion and Warfare, or that were written for it but not recorded, or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of that Rat Gang, Stephen Pearcy's Smash was a great album. And a bonus track here, it appears to be something called What Do You Think is the bonus track here.
Okay.
And you can see how I store my Obi strips. I just you can just slide it right out there and everything stays together. I have all the recent Stripers on Japanese import. Bonus track here is looks like it's All Over You. Is that what that says? All Over Again acoustic version. A lot of Striper Japanese bonus tracks are acoustic versions. And speaking of acoustic versions, this was a holy grail of mine for a long time.
What is
this?
Oh, I know what that is.
The legendary acoustic version of Wanted Dead or Alive.
I'll tell you, Mike, I don't have it anymore, but it was one of the first sort of extra things I ever found that wasn't just an album, but I found the cassette of the Wanted Dead or Alive EP, which had the photo of them in the photo shoot with the cowboy outfits. I have the single to it, the 45 picture sleeve, but it's not on there. But this had it had the album version. Then it had just John and Richie acoustically recorded,
which was the best version.
Then it had a live version.
Yep, extended.
And then it had "I Die for You," which was the standard B-side. Yeah,
that's right.
I remember when I first found that. It was one of those things where he's like, "I've got something nobody else has," and which wasn't the case, but it was still pretty cool. When they were my favorite band at the time, and I was waiting for the new album, so this was something to buy that was a little bit different.
Now, this has a slightly different track listing. Wanted Dead or Alive single version, the Wanted Dead or Alive acoustic version, the Wanted Dead or Alive live version, and then it has Edge of a Broken Heart.
Oh, man. Okay, quick story. Summer 87, like this is summer of Bon Jovi for me. They were my gateway band to getting into this insane music collection, which anybody who's read my book knows this. I talk about it. Listening to the radio one night, late at night, that song comes on. And I couldn't have been more excited. First of all, I thought they had a new album out already, right?
Because you're like, what's this song?
And I'm like, this is fantastic. It absolutely should have been on Slippery, and it could have been a single, and it could have been a hit.
Yeah, should have been on there instead of Social Disease. That's my personal opinion.
Well, more the merrier. But and I didn't have that. I didn't have that song in an actual recorded version until the Always single came out.
Same
94. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, good times.
Nice.
Good times.
Well, that's that stack.
Okay, so this is a band you already talked about, and you and I talked about this before. This is an album that I think was a hair's breadth away from getting a domestic release when it originally came out, but at the last minute it didn't. I think, and I've got a reason for it. This is a Japanese import of The Best of Dokken, and of course on this side it's in Japanese, but over here it's Best of Dokken. And I bought this because it's got the song Back for the Attack on it, which I had on the Dream Warriors EP cassette.
Yes.
Other than that, it's just it's a run through of the Elektra years, right? But what makes me think that this came so close to being issued in 94? Because record companies aren't that smart. The hip, quote unquote, hip record company exec would have said, no one's going to buy a Dokken release in 1994 if we put this out, but someone else might have said, well, hold on a minute. I'm just looking at the stats here, and it says that they had 3 platinum albums and a gold album. Why wouldn't we put? Anyway, where I'm going with this will never, ever show up. But down in the, it'll never show up. I'm just doing this, but in the
Okay.
very, very small print, with the copyright stuff, it says UPC. Oh, my eyesight. Just
welcome to
it's not
seniors
that
hour.
it's not that I can't see things that are small, because I can see them when they're lit up. It says UPC 7559-61665-2. Now, 61665 would have fit right in 1994 for an Elektra release.
Okay.
Domestically. If you look at, say, the Motley Crue album with Karabi or something else that came out in Elektra in 94, would have fit right in. That's what makes me think it was very close to getting a US release. I could be wrong about that, but
if any former Elektra employees know the story, contact.
And I know that is geeky to the absolute.
That is totally nerdy.
Nadir, right? But that's what makes me think this almost got a release. Now, Rhino did a fine very best of Dokken release in 99, and it when that came out, that further cemented to me that Up From the Ashes is a Don Dokken album, because they included Mirror Mirror.
Yeah.
Or is a Dokken album. I've always considered that a Dokken album. I file it with Dokken.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I just consider it sort of like the next lineup of Dokken. And
Absolutely.
considering that later versions of Dokken, Don's the only original member anyway, who cares?
And later versions of Dokken, some had John Norum, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Another Japanese import. I may have shown it before, but I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
This is called Forever, and this is a compilation that A&M in Japan put out in 1987 because they sold decently in Japan. So it's got English on this side.
Oh, I see it. Yep.
Japanese on this side. And it's just how many songs are on here? 13 songs? Yeah, it's got 13 songs on it. And there was nothing unreleased. I think, when they put these things out on their own, I think all they have are, the studio tracks. But I ordered this used, and guess what?
Got the Obi.
Got the Obi. First, we could do a whole episode on Japanese imports, but the very first Japanese import I ever got was Earthshaker by Y&T. And it was the first time I'd seen an Obi strip, and it was magical.
Mine was Kiss Killers and Judas Priest from the East. Bought them both at, I believe, I'm going to say Sam the Record Man.
Cool. I got one more Japanese thing to show you. Mr.
Oh, I don't have that.
Actual size from 2001. This is the last album before hiatus. It was the second of the two they did with Richie Kotzen.
Yeah.
And it's got this cool, it's a ruler here.
Oh, neat.
And it's on Atlantic, because they were, you talk about big in Japan. They were big in Japan.
Yeah, they were.
It came with, it came, of course, with the lyric sheet in Japan, Japanese and English. Came with this little booklet.
Neat.
Which, okay, so here's not one but two Obi strips for some reason. Don't know why.
Probably a mistake, but take it.
But it's got this.
Oh, what?
This might be something bookmark that you scanned. I think
that's a bookmark, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
To me, that looks like a bookmark.
It's got the logo on it, and it's got just pictures of the band, and it's got signed pictures of the band, and then you've got the CD itself, which I can never remember if this actually had a domestic release. I don't think it did, except for the Wounded Bird reissue. So this would be like the standard version of it.
Yeah.
But it's not an album I listen to all that much, but this is, it's cool packaging.
If you're a Kotzen fan, then you need it.
Well, it's funny. Those two albums are kind of the beginning of what later became the Winery Dogs.
Yeah.
So
100%.
That's it for that pile.
Okay. Oh, I see some more Striper. I'm just grabbing more per pile at this point. The Striper live album. 17 tracks. That's a whole lot. Not sure what the bonus track is because it's in Japanese in the back. Oh, this was the very last time I ever bought a Bon Jovi.
I don't have that album. I don't care if I ever do.
Exactly. Bonus tracks here are a live version of Keep the Faith and a karaoke version of Because We Can.
Wow.
Who gives a rat's ass? Ace Frehley, what is that? Spaceman?
Space Invader.
Space Invader. I don't think there was anything particularly. Give Me a Feeling explicit version, and then another version of Space Invader. I think everything's available elsewhere. Oh, Winger, Better Days Coming. That's a good album.
Awesome album.
And then it has a different version of Better Days Coming as the bonus track. It says it's the hate when you can't read the whole title because of the Obi strip.
Yeah.
It is the Stoner remix.
Interesting. Interesting.
Can't remember why it would be the Stoner remix, but there you have it. Here's some more Scorpions coming up here. I must have been on a Scorpions kick recently, which is nothing wrong with that, but Unbreakable. And the bonus track here is the retro garage mix of Remember the Good Times. Here's one I wouldn't have bought except for it was cheap. Ozzy Undercover. The bonus track is Changes with Kelly Osbourne, which I believe is on his box set. So no big deal. I do not like this album, but it has one of those extra thick, fat Japanese jewel cases. Quiet Riot, Alive and Well. Bonus track here is can't quite tell, but it's something. It's something.
I know. Yeah.
Tesla. The Mechanical Resonance Live.
Yeah.
Bonus track here is Save That Goodness and Hang Tough.
Yeah, Hang Tough's not on the version I have, which is just the Frontiers version.
Here's one that's sure to be hard to find now. Ozzy, Ordinary Man. Bonus track here is Dark Side Blues, which if you've heard his new album is also on his new album, but this is a completely different version.
Okay.
It's either the new version is either a remix or a re-recording, but is not the same as the Japanese bonus track. Oh, and there's another Striper, Second Coming. Bonus track here is Together as One. This was their album of re-recordings.
Right.
All right, that's that stack.
I've got one stack left, Mike.
Okay.
And these ones really are all over the place as far as why, which is why they're in one stack. I didn't know how to. So some of these are, I guess, no, there is a little bit of them. Some of them are just odd and or rare editions of albums or editions that in my lifetime watched go out of print. They weren't, and then they were.
Okay.
This is something, this has been reissued several times, but this is the David Coverdale White Snake, 2 words, and North Winds, his first 2 solo albums. This is a version that came out. It came out on the Connoisseur Collection in the UK. Yeah. But this is a version that came out on Attic Records in Canada, and this is actually in BMG Music Service, which I thought was rare when I first found this. But I didn't realize until the advent of Discogs is that first David Coverdale solo album, Whitesnake, actually came out in Canada on Attic in 1976 or 77, whenever it came out. So
I didn't know that.
They obviously had it, or they had the rights to it or whatever, which I thought was interesting. And it's just a typical looking Attic CD with the red logo on it. And I've got the UK cassette version of this too. The UK cassette version has 17 songs on it.
Right.
This has 13 songs on it. But I remember when I found the CD, gave the tape to a buddy of mine, and I said, don't worry about the 4 songs that aren't on here. They're side 2 of Snakebite.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So here's a band we've already talked about. This is just Motley Crue, Generation Swine. This is just the Canadian Electra version. There was nothing really spectacular about this at all. But 2 years later, they ended up doing all the Motley, the Crucial Crew reissues.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the Electra ones were gone.
Now, Tim, you've got that cover upside down. It should be the other way around. Yeah. Do you remember that in retail? It came with
annoying.
This is the gimmick. The backwards cover were so cool and unique.
Yeah, I think the word they're looking for is annoying.
That was.
Here's one. I gotta plug it because I love this album so much, and it got deleted so fast, like within a year. Aldo Nova, Blood on the Bricks, and this is a Canadian. No, this is a U.S. version on Mercury. Sorry, Jamco Mercury.
Right, Bon Jovi's label.
Yeah. I've always liked the way the CD itself looked. I thought it was really cool.
Neat.
But in later years, usually you'll see this version that this company called Lemon Recordings put out.
Yeah.
That has this cover and emblazoned in yellow, like the Max Webster reissues, featuring John Bon Jovi. Really cheesy looking.
That's the version I have.
Yeah. This is the original retail version. I wanted
have that.
To give it a plug. Yeah. Now here's one that's interesting. This is where I really geek out on things like serial numbers. And also why wouldn't we talk about Coney Hatch some more? Why not?
Ooh, yeah, not easy to find those original ones on
This
CD.
is a Canadian. This is a Canadian anthem issue of Friction, originally from 1985. And this was the only domestic issue that you could get until they reissued the first album in 96. But what's different about this is the anthem is usually really good at following the serial numbers. But the serial number they use here is ANK-1070, which was not the original. For the life of me, I can't think of what the original issue would have been, but this would have put it sometime in the 90s if it had come out, as a new release with that serial number. And I'm not sure why they did that. Now, having said that, I was really glad to find it.
Yeah.
Because I think at this point, I found this in 95, 96. I only had it on vinyl. It was really, really rare pre-internet.
It
So
was.
the one that took me the longest to find was Out of Hand. The second one, I didn't get that till Rock Candy reissued it because I don't think that had ever been issued on CD.
That's possible.
The next one is an example of one of the handful, the couple dozen or so that I used to have the long boxes too. It's just Sammy 3-lock box. And what is interesting about this, I bought this in late 91 in a store in the long box. So it had been there for a while. And why I say it had been there for a while is because if anyone, follows this type of stuff, somewhere between 90 and 91, Geffen switched distributors from Warner Brothers to MCA. And this is still a Warner Brothers distributed CD. So this was old stock that was sitting there, and it just happened to be the version that I found to replace my cassette. So
neat.
Not particularly rare, but I don't know how easy it would be to find this particular version of it now with the Warner distribution, because I'm sure there's another version of it with MCA.
In my experience, any Sammy Hagar pre-VOA was always somewhat hard to find on CD.
Yeah. Especially the Capitol.
Yeah.
Which I think I showed the rematch CD in our last episode.
Yeah.
So next up, it's one of the biggest selling albums of all time. So there's really nothing rare about it. And I only picked it up earlier this year. This is Canadian version of Back in Black. Why is it rare? Well, if anybody's bought this in recent years, they're going to say the cover looks weird.
Yeah.
It's big font. It's white. It's not embossed.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Japanese or no?
And no, it's Canadian.
It is. Okay.
CD 16018 is the serial number on it. But you never see original Atlantic CDs of AC/DC.
Oh.
Because first of all, usually what you see are the 2003 Sony reissues.
Yes.
If you don't see that, you see the 94 Atlantic reissues, which are different than this. So I'm like,
yeah.
And the other funny thing about this is that the version that I had was the 94 reissue. I had a Columbia House version of that, but
right.
Bonfire, if anyone knows, came with a digipack version of Back in Black. I gave that to someone. So, yeah. So when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to take my other version of it and put it in the Bonfire box.
That's a solution.
Yeah, it's a solution. It may not be the solution. And finally, I've got one more to show. My buddy Grant Arthur from Grant's Rock Warehouse sent
this.
We've been doing a really fun series on April Wine, and in talking, he said, "Hey, I've got an extra one of these. Harder, faster." This is the original 1985 U.S. Capitol issue. Now, the one I had was a U.S. Capitol issue, but it was a later one. It just had the big song titles written on the back. It didn't have the band photo. It looked different than this. It was black writing on the side, and the CD was like black and red, and it didn't have. I don't think it had this on it either.
Crap.
So, that was cool. It was cool. Community, right? And this looked different in it too. So,
I like your version better.
Yeah, I'd still like to get Capitol CDs of Power Play and Walking Through Fire. That would complete the 6 that came out on Capitol. Not to mention, I'd like to get the Wounded Bird version of Stand Back, because I think the Aquarius reissues are just terrible. Until they started doing the digipacks when Unidisc took over in 2008, 2009. They actually did a decent job, even though the digipacks. So that's all I got. Those are the rare CDs. Hard to
Can you
find
hear me
CDs.
okay? My microphone came unplugged.
I can hear you fine, Mike.
Okay, I'll rip through the last of mine, which there's still quite a few,
Yeah,
but there's
problem.
good stuff. You recall when Whitesnake did this pair of albums?
Yeah, I don't have either of those.
Bonus tracks on both of them. This one here has Best Years and The Badger Hotel Writing Session.
I'll be quite honest, Mike. I heard some tracks off of them, and I've like, no.
No, I'd like anyway.
It's the vocals.
Fair enough. I'm not going to twist your arm.
Yeah.
I believe Still of the Night might be the bonus track.
Now, if I saw either of those, up close and personal use, I would probably buy them.
Of course. Yes. This one cost me an arm and a leg. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny with a 2 bonus tracks, Kong and Training Medley. Kong is a song I'm unfamiliar with. I don't recall it being in the movie, and Training Medley is the scene from the movie. Oh, different cover on Slaughter's Revolution here.
Oh yeah. The other one's like all colorful and sort of psychedelic looking.
Yes, very kind of looked like they were trying to do a 60s looking inspired cover. Hard to Say Goodbye acoustic is the bonus track. Oh, here's a beaut. Monster with the lenticular cover art. Bonus track right here, right now.
Yeah, I've got the tour edition with that song on it.
This has also a King of the Nighttime World Live. Cool. And an entire bonus disc of Kiss Greatest Hits, which you can't read the song titles because they're all in Japanese, but it has entire Kiss Greatest Hits bonus CD. This is a beaut.
Just studio versions?
Yes.
Okay. Not re-recorded.
Not re-recorded.
Okay.
I dropped the Obi strip for this one.
Oh.
It's across the room, but the new Darkness Motor Heart. Bonus track is The Age of Darkness, which is a really cool track.
I watched that on YouTube. I think it's Dan Hawkins.
It is. It's Dan.
Sings it, and it's funny.
It's like he's a minstrel and he's telling like this tale of medieval times.
And he keeps, it rhymes, dun 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 dun,
and it just keeps going and dun 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 dun, and it just keeps going and building.
I love those guys.
Me too. They're fun.
Yeah.
Here's another
band. I love that album too. Love that album.
Bonus track on this is a Beatles cover, Here Comes the Sun, which if you talk to my buddy Uncle Meat, he will argue it doesn't fit on the album, and I would argue that he is correct. And the end of the stack here. I liked Queen with Paul Rogers, and this has a bonus live disc.
I could not get into it.
No, hey?
No, I love Queen. And I like Bad Company. Paul Rogers is a great singer. I thought that was the poorest fit.
Oh, it wasn't a great fit necessarily, but I did like I
didn't like anything I heard off that album. I don't own it. I don't consider it part of the Queen catalog. It's just, but you know what? It's funny because that was a lesson for me, Mike.
Yeah.
Because I've dealt with this for years as a Van Halen fan. Because I remember thinking, okay, is this what it felt like when Sammy took over? Is this what it felt like to people? And they just couldn't get on board with it? Because if so, for the first time in my life, I get it.
Okay.
Because I couldn't get it. It's like, even if you like both, it's like, to me, it was like two great tastes that didn't taste great together kind of thing.
Not the chocolate and peanut butter Reese's.
No.
Okay, fair enough. You like this band, I know.
I do.
This is one of their latter-day albums.
I don't like that album very much.
No, neither did I. 2 bonus tracks, Burnout to Fade demo and Taste My Pain. Do you like this band, The Royal Blood?
I'm not overly familiar.
Okay. 3 bonus tracks, Hole, You Want Me, and Love It and Leave It Alone. Oh, here's a good one. Alice Cooper's band, The Hollywood Vampires.
Yeah.
I consider this an Alice Cooper album. And I can't remember which one is the bonus track, but I want to say it's I'm a Boy. I'm not
I
sure.
know that they reissued that. See, I was not big on that. I liked the 2 or 3 original songs on it, but then they reissued it again with more songs. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going there.
Here's a really, really, really rare one that if you didn't get it when it came out, you weren't getting it at all. I just got the Obi strip on backwards. Thin Lizzy at the BBC.
Nice. That's
so
cool.
The story here is that I waited too long to buy it, but it turned out Amazon had a Japanese copy still in stock at a slightly higher price, but it was still in stock. So
that's awesome.
No brainer. More Striper. There we go. Lots of Striper. Bonus tracks are almost always acoustic versions. Oh, here's the Queensryche that we were talking about off camera a little earlier.
Cool. Oh, I love that album.
Bonus track here, I think, might have been Queen of the Reich Live. I can't remember.
I bought the version that was in the box.
Yeah, it's whatever.
It had Queen of the Reich.
Okay.
And Force and Prophecy. And when I bought the Verdict, I also bought that in the box version. It had those 3 songs, plus it had Eyes of a Stranger. And I kept thinking, I want to hear that entire concert.
Yeah.
I want to hear that entire concert from 2012 when they first got Todd. And I think they were still called Rising West.
Yeah.
And 8 was just doing his thing.
They need to release something official live, not just a track scattered in there.
Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah.
Oh, look, we talked about this guy. This is his solo project.
Oh, Richie Kotzen, yeah.
Motherhead's Family Reunion. And the bonus track here is called Wailing Wall. I got that on Amazon. Like, it's weird how sometimes you can get this stuff on Amazon. Here's a band you like.
Yeah, that was 25. Yeah, I don't have that version of it. I've got it's got a different cover. It's like the Metal Meltdown.
Yes.
I don't, yeah.
The Digipack thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking that has 1 CD and 1 DVD. This has 2 CDs with Play With Me and Cupid's Dead as the bonus tracks. Cool. More Extreme. Saudades to Rock.
Like that album too.
Now I know there were 2 bonus tracks on the various versions. One was Americocaine.
Yeah.
And this is the other one, whatever the other one was.
You know, the song that they had done that I thought would have come out on that. Remember when they did the Brad Delp tribute and they had that song called Rock and Roll Man?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
I don't think they ever recorded it. I was hoping they would.
Yeah. And this is the end of my pile here. I recently, and when I say recently, last 2 years, started buying Loudness in earnest.
Okay.
And trying to import a lot of their stuff from Japan. So here's 2 box sets. They have a load of box sets in Japan, one for every album.
Yeah.
So I decided to buy Hurricane Eyes on import because I didn't have that album otherwise. 5 discs, man. 5 discs.
Of course, they were huge in Japan, right?
They were.
Yeah.
The nice thing about this is that you get both mixes, the US and the Japanese mix of the album in one place. And then this was another one where I could kill 3 birds with 1 stone. This is the latter day stuff with Masaki Yamada on lead vocals from EZO.
Okay, yeah.
So this contains 3 of their albums, Ghetto Machine, Dragon, and Engine, with a DVD of their music videos.
Cool.
I will tell you, not the greatest albums, but I have it.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters to a collector.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, if you like Cheap Trick,
you get something rare, you get it in your collection, and you go, oh,
right. Like if you like Cheap Trick, you have to own the Doctor album at some point.
Exactly.
Just the way it goes, man. And that's all I got for this time. I've saved a few for if we do this again.
And I think we should. I think that this is a lot of fun. It's showing this stuff off, and just, because sooner or later, when other people do it, when you show stuff, I'm like, that is cool. I've never seen that before. So yeah. So let us know in the comments. What do you think of has anybody got some of these CDs?
And let me know if you can get me a Japanese import of Different Stages by Rush, please.
One for me too.
There you go.
All right. Thanks everyone. And thanks Mike for hopping on. We'll do it again.
Cheers,
if
buddy.
not this topic, then definitely something else. And thanks everybody for watching Tim's Final Confessions.